Happy Saturday! Now, I realize it's Saturday, the day that most people sleep in, and for some reason we're getting started a little bit early. But you know, some days you just gotta get up, get at it, get into it, get it how you feel it, shake what your mama gave you, all that good stuff. You know what? It really doesn't matter. All I know is let's go ahead and step into the Sorry guys, I know there's this weird delay on Facebook when I get started from when I start streaming on my software to when Facebook picks it up, so I apologize for the weird timing on that. But anyway, I know it's early as crap this morning, well, at least by comparison to our normal time, but I've got some appointments this morning and I need to get to the gym ahead of time because if I don't go early, then I won't go back later for cardio. So yeah, it is what it is. So, you know the deal. Grab a glass of water, chug a lug, let's social it up. Hit like when you're done. If I can get the jar open. Okay, so guys, ladies, goddesses, before we dive in, I want to address something that popped up in the chat yesterday, and also it's popped up in my inbox a couple of times, and I've gotten a couple of messages on YouTube as well. So when I say this, I want to make sure that it's clear that I'm addressing multiple people. I don't want anyone to feel, you know, singled out or anything like that. So I really want to recover this. Again, I'm going over this because I'm gonna make a point here in a second, but give me a hot second to bring it full circle. A goddess uses her knowledge of universal laws of nature, her conscious mind, and esoteric powers to manifest her dreams. A goddess understands how to transform situations using her highest influence to make her visions and dreams a reality. So again, what I really want to focus on is the second part to this morning before we dive in. A goddess understands how to transform situations using her highest influence, right? That's the biggest part here. Transform situations using her highest influence. So, the reason why I want to talk about this is because there are many people who are dealing with some relationship things. Some being, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, some being spousal, some being co-workers, some being parent-child relationships, meaning you're the child and, you know, you're the adult child and your parents. So oftentimes we find ourselves, or not oftentimes, but there are times in life where we find ourselves in relationships where it just feels, and I use this term because it's the most common one that's been used in my inbox, in low vibrational situations where we're trying to get on the same page with this person, where, you know, it seems like no matter what we do, like maybe that other person is like, I don't want to use the word dragging us down, but they're just maybe not as willing. They don't seem as willing to come along to get with the program, to, you know, get on the same page. So what I want to say about this is very clear and direct, and I'm going to keep this part short before we dive into the reading. And understand that what I say out of absolute unconditional love. And again, I want to reiterate that, let's just look at it again, and I go back to it because I'm visual. A goddess understands how to transform situations using her highest influence. So when we find ourselves in situations where perhaps, you know, we're just really trying to help raise up the other person in the relationship, right? Or we want them to want to raise up with us, right? And we're just feeling that low vibration. We're just feeling like, why is this so difficult? Everything's on point except for this, right? If I could just help get this fully integrated, this would help. So one of the things that I want you to realize, or to remember, is what you put out is what you get back. So let's start from that basis. If you are feeling something in particular, right? Sometimes, or not sometimes, what we need to do is we need to stop and ask ourselves, not that person, what am I putting out that is allowing me to receive this feeling back, right? And when we do that, we start to realize that we've been looking upon this relationship, and I speak from personal experience as well, in multiple relationships, not just in my marriage, but in family, mother-daughter, within friends as well. And what I have learned is that it's me. Period. Point blank in a discussion. Remember, a goddess uses her highest influence to transform situations. If I'm feeling something, then chances are I'm putting that out, and that's what I'm getting back. So, a lot of times we look at these relationships, these situations, these encounters with a feeling of disappointment and lack. We don't have this in our relationship, so we're lacking that. If only this other person would get on board or meet me on my level, then we could then go do blah, 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 and blah. A, B, and C, and D. That's a feeling of lack, right? So when we change our perspective, and I kind of mentioned this the other day in relationship to the body. Sometimes we look at our bodies and we're like, oh my God, I hate this. If only I could tone this up. If only I could smooth that out. If only I could get rid of these dimples or that pooch or that pucker. You know, we start looking at our bodies from a state of disappointment, and then we try and find motivation out of our disappointment. Oh, well, I want to look better in this bikini because I hate the way that I look right now. And then we wonder why we keep getting frustrating results, because we're moving out of frustration. We're making decisions. We're pushing out of a place of lack, out of a place of frustration. Same thing with relationships. If we want to improve relationships with our parents, improve relationships with our partners, our spouses, improve relationships with our coworkers, our bosses. I know there are a few people who are dealing with relationships with their bosses. Oh. We need to go within us and first recognize, what is it that I'm feeling? Am I feeling disappointment in this relationship? Am I feeling like it's lacking something? Am I feeling doubt? Am I feeling insecure in my relationship? And if that's what I'm receiving, shit, what am I putting out? And what you'll find is, honestly, guys, 9 times out of 10, sometimes it really is the other person. You're doing your all and the other person's just a bump in the log. But if that's the case, you got that message a long time ago to how to handle that. You know what to do. It's just a matter of doing it. But 9 times out of 10, it is us. And here's the thing. Here's why it's so powerfully us. Because we are now in a position where we are incredibly self-aware, right? We understand that we've been working on integrating divine feminine and divine masculine to become the divine sun child. We understand that that we've had to shed, that we're still working through shedding those feelings of lack, of disappointment. Maybe we've shed the feelings, but we still have the mental habits of thinking that way, right? So in closing up on this short subject, what I really want to say is, look within you. Have I been looking upon this relationship from the basis of what we don't have? How do I build something? How do you build a house based on what you don't have, right? When you build a house, and I know all about building houses because I've done it for many years. When you build a house, you obviously got to find the right lot. You got to clear the pad, and then what comes? A firm foundation. Without a firm foundation, everything goes to shit. It may look gorgeous, but then you start noticing the cracks in the walls, the cracks around the door frames, around the window seals, right? Because the foundation's shifting. Maybe it hadn't had time to settle. But what I'm getting at is, we can't expect to be blessed or to manifest or to create this big, beautiful mansion on shaky, unstable foundation, right? So you are the foundation. I want you to look within you. And by default, just like everyone else in the world, By default, when you begin to fully integrate you, when you become satisfied, when you become not just content, but you become overwhelmingly happy with what it is that you have in you and what it is that you have in that person and what it is that you have together, now you have a foundation to build. Now you are now looking upon that person, you are looking upon the situation, you are looking upon the relationship out of love, not out of lack. And that person now feels that love and not that disappointment, not that frustration. Because let's be real, guys, sometimes when we feel like someone's disappointed in us or we're afraid of disappointing people, in the past, that old fear and lack would cause us to just shut down, right? So we have to be patient with other people. They may not be in the same spiritual walk that we are in, right? They may not have the same knowledge and understanding. There are so many times that I have spiritual conversations with people and we use the same exact words, but at the end of the day, we're talking about two different things. We're coming from two different understandings. Sometimes multiple, more than two different understandings, depending on how much a person has studied and where they've studied from. So remembering, Archangel Chamuel reminded us like twice last week to remember that only love is real. Only love is real. So this frustration, this disappointment, these feelings of lack we have towards, these situations, our bosses, our jobs, because it's not always a relationship. Sometimes it's just in our jobs. I'm feeling great in all of my life, but I'm trying to get my life together in my job, Maybe we're looking upon that job from a feeling of lack, from a feeling of disappointment, from a feeling of frustration. And therefore, everyone in the job situation now senses that. Even if they don't know what they're sensing, they sense it. They absolutely sense it, all right? So I just really want to be super, super, super clear on that. Make sure that we're on the same page and that we're understanding that a goddess uses her highest influence to affect a situation, okay? Your highest influence is your vibration, or not only your words, your thoughts, but your feelings. What is it that you are putting out towards that? And that's the big thing, guys. That's some of the things that we are going to be encountering. I just got some messages even in my own personal life this morning that we're going to be encountering. As my mom used to say as I was growing up, you can't give the testimony without going through the test, all right? There are going to be things we have been working on integrating divine feminine and divine masculine, right? We've been working on healing those shadows, shedding light and healing those shadows to integrate them into our full self. Now, it's not to say that, you're going to be tested. It's to say that there are situations that are going to pop up that are going to cause us to be tested. How are we going to respond? Are we going to respond with that old mindset? Or are we going to respond with the new, I got this, boo. I'm a goddess. I control my vibration. I control the situation, right? And what you'll find is that when these things they'll continue to pop up, but they'll no longer be tests. Because at that point, they're just part of life. Oh, this situation popped up. No biggie, I got this. Let me go control. Let me go in my meditation. Let me go in my sacred place, my power place. Let me hold the vibration. And at a certain point, when it becomes a regular practice, it's not even so much that I have to go back to connect to the divine, to hold the vibration. You just hold it, period, and you remain connected at all times. So as we move further and further into those steps, just remember, no matter what the situation is, you control it. Not by attacking or going towards or going forth or projecting on the other person. Keyword projecting. By looking solely, squarely at you. And as you begin to become, again, more integrated, you look at the relationship, the job, the situation with love and with abundance, not from a place of lack and disappointment, but from love and acceptance and unconditional love and unconditional acceptance. What you'll find is as your vibration rises, that person is going to, or that situation, that job is going to seek to raise up with you. And then when you begin to have the conversations again, you're in a more open spot to where you can say, hey babe, I've been using this word and you've been using the same word. What does this mean for you? as we set our intentions together, because like I said, when my husband and I sat down and did our intentions last week, we were using a lot of the same words through and through. But when we actually sat back and said, hey, well, what exactly does this mean to you? We had totally different things. So it helped us to get on the same page. So I say all that to say, guys, focus on what's going on within you. If you're not sure, if you're thinking, man, I don't have any more shadows, this isn't me. You know, it's not to let the snow queen, like we talked about yesterday, to come up and feed in doubt and insecurity. But it's to understand that you're the goddess who can thaw out her icy grasp. That you're the goddess who can shed the light on that. Maybe there is something in the shadow. Maybe I got my surface shadows. Maybe there's a few little hidden things back there in the closet that I need to go and, you know, what they call it, the vacuum, get the edging tool, you know, so you can get along the edges of the floor, the baseboard. You know, maybe I need to go get the edging tool so I can see what's really in the corners. Okay, so I didn't mean to go on a, you know, what has it been, about a 15-minute tangent there, guys, but that's just something that's been popping up a couple of times over the last week and a half. So again, I just really want to stress that's not just been Facebook, it's been YouTube as well, and it's popped up in my inbox. I've seen it in comments, and I really just wanted to address that because, again, so often we're in the habit of looking outside of ourselves when, again, all the answers lie within. So let's go ahead and get started for our reading today, now that we are, you know, into the mix. Thank you to God. Thank you to our angels, our goddesses, our guides, our fairies. Thank you for all the clear and concise messages and the direction you've been giving us. And thank you for really helping us to open up our hearts, which helps us to open up our understanding within our minds. Thank you for all the protection that you've been showing us in our spiritual and in our physical realms, and how we're beginning. Thank you for the fruit of our labors, being able to see things come to life. We ask that you continue to guide and direct and bless our readings and make them clear and concise and applicable so everyone knows how to apply towards their lives. Also, we ask that anyone who hears this reading be blessed by it and receive the message that was meant for them. All these many wonderful things we ask in unconditional love. Amen. All right, so now that we've gotten through all that, let's dive in. I think we are going to talk to where are we going? I'm gonna grab my stone here and just ground for a hot second, guys, because sometimes I have in my mind, like, before we get started, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this, and this, and then we get started and it's like, no, that was not that. Maybe I was feeling that, but the energy says otherwise. So I'm just kind of looking around. All right, I think we're going Divine Circus. And really what I'm getting is we're going to get one central card from this deck. Let me slide these two back in from yesterday. And shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Thank you, Divine Circus. You have such loving support for us. What do you have for the Goddess Realm today? What do you have for the Goddess Realm this morning? What one central message do you have for us today? What is it that we need to know? Is that the card? That is the card. All right, guys, I think this is our one central message, but I think we might get another card. Oh my, what a beautiful card. Gypsy Columbine. And please forgive my nails. They are so tacky right now. I need to do them. But that'll be something that happens later today. That's like a Saturday night thing for me. Gypsy Columbine. Let's see. All right, Gypsy Columbine. Wow. The free spirit in you is rewilding itself, shedding social condition and past patterns of behavior. It is shaking off socialization and emerging anew like a snake shedding a skin. The wild one within isn't a savage, it's raw, yes, but also wise, authentic, beautiful, and with deep instinctive knowing as to what you must be. Can a bird ever be truly happy whilst trying to be a fish? True freedom is also to be truthfully yourself. Wow. Politeness and people pleasing, not out of respect but out of fear you will otherwise be rejected, is a form of social conditioning that dulls the wild within one. That dulls the wild one within. If you reject that conditioning in favor of rewilding, of getting in touch with your true instincts and nature, you will exchange lukewarm tolerances from others for passionate admiration and love. Wow, guys. Didn't we just talk about that? And for those that cannot love you, that are afraid of how much life is in you, then let them be. They do not belong in your world, nor you in theirs. The jungle of life is a vibrant, colorful, and exciting place, but not everyone is ready to live there as yet. That is just the way of things sometimes. The mysterious Gypsy Columbine comes to you with a message. It's now time to let yourself off the hook, to forgive and forget, to allow what's been, to have been, and to start again. No regrets, no fear, no doubt. It's time to heed the call of the wild and ask yourself, what would set my wild spirit free? If you cannot answer that bold question quite yet, then it's time to get in touch with the freedom-seeking wild one within. Dance, play, sing, drum, wear a feather in your hair, go barefoot. Let your instincts rather than your intellect guide you. Swap the certainty of ego for the mystery of the soul. A new song wants you to dance to it. There is no choreographed routine to learn, yet your body will create the steps as you go. Will you free your gypsy soul and dance music like you've never heard before? Will you free your gypsy soul and dance to music you've never heard before? Hold on, there's something I just want to recap in that. That is just absolutely amazing. Politeness and people-pleasing, not out of respect but out of fear you will otherwise be rejected, is a form of social conditioning that dulls the wild one within. If you reject that conditioning in favor of rewilding, of getting in touch with your true instincts and nature, you will exchange lukewarm tolerances from others for their passionate admiration and love. If you reject that conditioning in favor of rewilding, so this is literally a goddess getting in touch with herself and using her highest influence. Rewilding. You now exchange lukewarm tolerances from others for their passionate admiration and love. So here's something I learned a while ago, or probably, I don't know, maybe almost going on 2 years ago. And it's a not difficult, but it's a different concept to adapt. There are a lot of things that we think and say and do out of sheer politeness, because that's what we've been told that polite people do, right? That's what we've been told that good Americans do, or what have you, productive members of society do, regardless of what society. And really, at the end of the day, there's a lot of shit that we just do purely out of ego, whether it be out of our ego or to salvage someone else's ego in an attempt to not be lashed out on our ego. Does that make sense? Like, we placate people sometimes in an attempt to cover up ourselves. So there are times in the world where you have to recognize that that's just some purely ego human shit. I don't give a fuck. Pardon my French. I really apologize. Pardon my French, because I know sometimes y'all probably watch this on your phones. You don't always have earbuds in. Your babies might be around, so I apologize for the language. What we have to recognize is what is true within us. Okay? You can be true to yourself and you can operate out of unconditional love, but that doesn't mean you're walking around bending down, kissing everybody's behind to make them feel good. Okay? So recognize what's true to you and be true to you and operate out of unconditional love. Some people aren't ready to shine. Some people are ready to shine. They just need permission. They don't really understand it yet. There's something burning within them. You'll notice, guys, it is insane. I see it all throughout my timeline, and you probably see it in yours too. People are feeling something but they don't know what it is. They're feeling like a stirring. People are, even some of the most, God bless them, the people who seem the least conscious or the least awake, the least enlightened in the world, you just see it in their posts. They're feeling a stirring of something. The tide is turning. Like, everybody's feeling something. And so we want to respect where they're at in their life, and we want to encourage them. We want to let our light continue to shine bright, but we also recognize that we don't, dull ourselves, play those social head games, really, just to make another person feel better. Or, let me rephrase that, it's not even so much to not make another person feel better, because we always want to uplift and encourage, but really is a way to hide ourselves for fear of being ridiculed, or who the hell is she, or what have you. Does that make sense, guys? I really hope I know what I'm trying to say, and I'm just hoping that the words are coming out clearly. So really, the biggest thing with this Gypsy Columbine is it reminds me of Freya, the card that we got, the crystal card that we got with Freya, the Untamed Wild, or the Untamed Divine, and the crystal was amber. And the whole thing was about there's something within you that wants to it's welling up, it wants out. So what I love about this card in particular is it is a direct action card. This is giving us direction. What am I supposed to be doing next? A lot of us are thinking, okay, I know I'm supposed to be walking in my life purpose. What am I supposed to be doing next? Today, this is what I want you to focus on. Today, I want you to focus on, where are you hiding yourself in social formalities? In social, what's the exact word that they use? In socialization. Where are you hiding yourself in your socialization? If somebody says to you, hey, what's new? Are you saying, oh, nothing much? Or are you telling them what's new in your life? Sometimes there are some people. Okay, guys, give me a second. Okay, we need to talk about discernment. Okay, got you. I'm like, what are you telling me, God? Okay, so we need to talk about discernment. You have divine intuition. You have divine discernment. And discernment will let you know. Because there are some people who aren't quite yet equipped to, A, accept your bright light, and B, recognize their own within and allow theirs to shine. So there are some people who we don't necessarily reduce ourselves around, but we maybe, everything's great, how are you? And then there are other people who we discern that they sense our light, and they are like, hey, your light is really shining lately. What is new with you? I'm trying to get some of that light too. You know what? I've been focusing on da-da-da-da. I've had to change my mindset, and now I've been noticing this, and this in my life. Does that make sense, guys? At the end of the day, you're not reducing yourself or hiding yourself to make that other person feel good or to play social niceties. You're still letting your light shine. You just sometimes need to discern how many details you give to what person. And the reason I use the word discern and not determine is because your determination is going to be out of your ego. Whereas your discernment is going to come out of your intuition. It's going to come out of that vibration, that what you're receiving from their heart to your heart. What I was going to go into, like, what you're receiving from their electromagnetic field, but really just noticing, there are some people who, and I'm just trying to determine how deep I want to go into this. How far are we? Okay, it is 7. All right, got you. We're 28 minutes in. So I have a person that I work with on a very close basis, and I do a lot of work for this person. I absolutely enjoy it, love it. It's good for me. It's good for them. But what I have found is, and this person is highly conscious, highly enlightened, highly spiritual. However, we all have shadow aspects. And being a shadow worker, it is extremely easy for me to recognize them within others. And what I have found in this very, very, very close relationship is that when I have to be careful about how I reveal my excitement about what's going on in my life. In the past, I would not say a thing because I was fearful that this person would be like, "Oh, Sharita, can you really do that? Can you do that without me? Do you know what you're talking about?" I was fearful of doubt. Well, now that I've shed that feeling of lack and that feeling of doubt, and I've stepped firmly in walking in boldness in my life purpose, what I've learned from this person learned about this particular relationship is that when I share, I need to share at a certain level. And what my discernment, because my ego was like, F this person, how dare they not be happy for me? Like, I'm happy for you every single moment of every single day, and I do everything I can to help, but I share my good news and like crickets, But what I learned, that was my ego, but my discernment showed me that as I grow, that it creates a little doubt and insecurity in this person, because this relationship is very much a two-way street. And if my end of the street shuts off, it chokes things for the other end of the relationship. Does that make sense? And so what I've learned is I share my joy and my happiness in a different way, but I share it now in a way that allows this person to understand that just because I have my own things going on and that they're doing amazing things, that I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here with you to do this. Does that make sense, guys? I don't hide myself anymore. I just express in a way that is in accordance to what works well for our relationship. I've been able to discern that from my spirit. And it took me, it's taken me quite a while. A lot of, and the shitty part about it is it really hasn't been a while. I knew right off top, but I had so much doubt and confusion in my mind that I kept going to my guides like, please help me to understand, make it clear, make it plain, help me to understand, angels talk to me. And literally like when I get a lot of my personal messages, it's right when I'm waking up first thing in the morning when I'm groggy, my angels are yelling in my ear like, you need to blah, 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 and this, and oh, by the way, stop doing that and start doing this. I mean, like, I'll hear things as clear as stay off red meat. Like, whoa. I got that one a while back. You need to stay off red meat. And what was wild is I hadn't eaten red meat for a while, and then I had it like twice that day. And I felt fine. Honestly, my body was fine. I didn't feel crampy. I didn't feel yucky. And we're talking about, a person who eats vegan majority of the time. And then I ate red meat twice. I think I had like a burger and then I had like tacos later in the day or something. It was ridiculous. Yes, I'm telling on myself. But I'm sorry, like I digress. Let me get back to my point. But what I'm saying is your intuition, you already know. Like I knew what to do, but my ego was still a little bruised and fearful. So I had to, once I was able to heal that ego and integrate it and understand, you know what, this isn't about, I'm not worried about, him thinking about whether I'm good enough to do what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, I know that I'm good enough to do what I'm doing. And I know that I'm ever growing and ever evolving, and that is the end of the game. That is the end. That is the story. That is what I'm here to do, is to learn and teach. So there are other people. I've got some familial relationships where they're on the cusp of wanting to let their light shine, but they're still feeling a little bit of lack. They're still feeling a little bit of doubt, and they're still feeling a little bit of insecurity. And so a very true story from this week alone. I was cold earlier this week. I was fully dressed, by the way, guys, but I had my bathrobe on. I think maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday. I think Tuesday. And I actually booked several appointments based off of that video in a bathrobe. And so I have a family member who's contemplating whether or not she wants to go into business for herself, even though she knows that's her heart's true desire. But fear and doubt and lack say, I need a job with steady income. I don't trust God enough to provide that for me. So what I did was I took a picture of the video and I sent like a screenshot. And I was like, hey, look, just booked appointments in my bathrobe. If I can do it, you can too. So I say all that, I give those examples to say there are different ways to approach different people, right? Use your discernment. But in doing so, you still let that light shine, okay? You still let your light shine. You don't reduce yourself in order to, out of fear and doubt, or in order to placate other people. You don't reduce yourself in order to make other people feel better. And that's what I was doing in my business relationship. And I've just had to learn to take a step back. And you'll find that there are the right times and the right places to share what with whoever. The other thing I guess I want to end with is when we're sharing, again, we want to check ourselves, even if it's mid-sentence, mid-thought, even if it's after the fact. Did I share out of genuine love because I want to encourage this person? Did I share out of genuine excitement because, oh my gosh, look what just happened? Or did I share because I'm finally feeling like one of the big kids and I'm a big dick too, and I want to, you know, I'm going to flex my muscles and ego. Like, what are we sharing out of? When you're sharing out of unconditional love, when you're sharing out of divine love, out of divine consciousness, just share. But check yourself. If you're mid-sentence, if you're mid-thought, and you're sharing out of ego, stop, find your words, neutralize it, and switch to a place of love. Because people pick up on that ego. Ladies, I'm going to say something. When it comes to dealing with our men in particular, in general, men are raised, you know, and I say this because I see this in a lot of my coaching when working with men. When it comes to thinking about happiness and living the life of their dreams, it's not always as easy for them. A lot of men, especially the older they are, grew up or have grown up or are still growing up in the mindset of a man takes care of his business, he provides for his household, he makes sure that everything is in order, it is his responsibility. They grow up in this structured box of what a man is, right? We as women, we tend to be more fluid. We tend to be more free thinking. We tend to be more willing on average, I'm not saying always, to, let's say, try new things or try new recipes, or, hey babe, I saw a new blah, 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 let's go. What's it about? I don't know. Well, do they have, you know, my burger and steak or my steak and fries? You know what I mean? Like, guys, so it's a little bit easier for us, on the average, to embrace new thoughts, new ideas, new ways of being, right? It's a little bit more difficult for them sometimes because, again, they've been so programmed and so trained to focus on what a real man is, and a real man provides for his family, that sometimes it is hard for them to get outside of that box to think that, wow, wait a minute, I can be happy and provide for my family? It's hard. It's not always easy. So we have to recognize that and be patient with them. And understand that when we are coming at them with our light blazing full blast, that we need to make sure 8,000% that we are approaching purely out of abundance and unconditional love, and to be patient with them. Because it's one thing to say, yeah, A, B, and C. It's something else to, like, it's one thing, let me say this. It's one thing to think A, B, and C. It's something else to implement and do A, B, and C, right? We all like to think that we're free thinkers, but the majority of people in this world are more trapped up and caged and can't think for themselves than ever imagined. Most people get their opinions, they get their direct consciousness from mainstream media and from social media. Most people don't know how to think. Most people don't know truly how to do their own research. And most people, when they do their own research, don't know how to evaluate it fairly, especially when it's something that contradicts their belief or their understanding, right? So at the end of the day, I just really want to stress, when we're dealing with our partners, with men in particular, just understand that they don't think like us. I took this class way back when I was going to church. I took this marriage class once, surprisingly by myself, details. Um, and so on it, the pastor was talking about how in marriage counseling, and actually what he had us do, and my husband, when I came home, my husband did it with me. We made a list of our top 10 needs, right? Our top 10 needs. And what was interesting is I knew this before I went home, because the pastor said, after everybody did their list, he was like, what you'll find is that most people have the same things on their top 10 list, plus or minus one or two things. But what you'll find is at the top of our list is at the bottom of their list, and vice versa. And so I knew this coming home, and I said, hey babe, here's what I learned in class tonight, da 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 da. He was like, okay, cool, let's try it. And sure enough, the things that he had ranked 1 to 10 were the things that I had ranked 10 to 1. Does that make sense? But we had the same core beliefs. So just understand that when we know that we share the same core beliefs with our partners, with our spouses, with our mates, with our boyfriends, lovers, whatever, twin flame, soulmate, I don't care, whatever you want to label your person, your relationship, just understand that sometimes they are thinking from a different perspective, and we can't just expect us to go and, babe, I'm thinking this, and this, and so what do you think? Yeah, I'm on board. Well, remember, his perspective is different. Yeah, on the surface, he's on board with those words, but his perspective, his thought process, his way of going about it might be different. It might be a different path than yours. So respect it, be patient with it, and approach it not from a place of lack, not from a place of disappointment, but from a place of understanding and from a place of unconditional love. Because if anybody's going to sense ego, it's going to be your man. Okay? So we do not come at our men with ego. And quite frankly, we don't do it because we don't want them coming at us with ego. We want them coming at us with unconditional love, with unconditional acceptance, right? So at the end of the day, let your light shine. Be true to you. Ask yourselves, in what situations have I been allowing in what social situations have I been allowing myself to dim my light? Okay, I'm really I'm being told just to kind of stop, guys. I have to apologize because I know what I want to say, and I really hope that what I'm saying is being conveyed appropriately. But I feel like I'm all over the place, and I guess what I'm trying to say is let your light shine. Use discernment, not ego, when letting our light shine, right? And don't allow social situations to dim your light. If you are feeling freaking amazing and somebody asks, how are you doing today? If you're at the bank, they said, hello, ma'am, hello, Mrs. Bagby, how are you today? I am freaking amazing. Thank you. How are you today? Don't hide it. Because again, remembering what we're speaking is what we're putting out and what we're creating. So speak your truth. Speak your boldness. Hey, what's new in your life? Well, honestly, you got a minute? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Or maybe someone is, whatever this, use your discernment. Honestly, maybe some person, your discernment says, keep it short. Really just focusing on positive thinking and healing past hurts and old wounds and learning to let them go. Keep the lesson, but let the hurt go. So I'm actually feeling really good lately. Thanks for asking. How are you doing? We don't have to go into all the details but for some people who are on the cusp, maybe they need the details. Maybe it helps to give them permission to let their light shine. So don't cloud yourself. Don't dim yourself. Don't hide yourself. Really what I want to do is I want to reiterate, I want to put another offer out there for anyone who's still struggling in dealing with shadows and dealing with hurts, past, and really just looking for direction within their lives. By all means, please send me a private message and let's book a session. What we'll do is a small reading to get some guidance and direction, and then some coaching after the reading to make sure that you are of understanding about what it is that your guides want you to do for your life. Now, what I will say is that for the very short interim, I am going to continue to do these at no cost. But I do, those things will probably change in the next week and a half. What's interesting, guys, is I'm getting more guidance and direction about my path. And when I first started doing my oracle readings, even just for myself, I thought they were going to be more so just guidance and direction for me, as to what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I kind of got some guidance to step out and to share. And I'm thinking, you want me to share? But everybody knows me as, going to church Sharita. What happens when I start sharing oracle readings? And I did so. And what's amazing is it's blooming into more and more things in other aspects of my life. And what's being shown to me is this is a very direct part of it's not a side adjunct, it's actually a direct part of where I am moving. So it is part of me walking in my life purpose that helps support me and my family as well, to help to be able to do more and more, to produce more content, to produce more videos, because it is my dearest, sincerest, fervent hope, intention, desire, dream to be able to put out far more content than I'm putting out right now. The daily readings are great, and a couple of videos here and there are great, but I really want to make sure that I've got courses, whether it be self-coaching or whether it be one-on-one coaching with me. But my big thing is really just to help everyone discover their inner god or goddess. So it isn't just for women, their inner god or goddess, to discover their life purpose, what makes them truly happy in this life, and to understand that they can earn a life, they can fully support themselves and their families and their businesses based off what it is that they love. And that prosperity, true abundance and prosperity flows from our hearts. So when we can get out of a place of lack and disappointment and fear and frustration and misunderstanding, and we can walk in the place of joy and happiness and love and abundance, that things again just begin to flow. Again, we are creating at all times. We are manifesting every moment of every day. But it's a matter of how intentional we are with that manifestation. Now we're moving into a place of controlling that manifestation. Manifesting, creating exactly what it is, what we want in our lives. Bringing about the relationships, bringing about the people, the support, the things, the love, the intuition, our connection to the divine, however we define that, bringing that about within ourselves. So really, y'all, I think that is what I had to say about that. If you have any questions, please, 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 please leave your comments. You can always send me a message on Facebook. You can send me a message, leave me a message in the comments on YouTube. Let's social it up one more time. Hit like when you're done. And a few of you, I'm headed to the gym here in a bit because a few of you I actually have appointments with later today, this morning. So I'm actually excited to get with you and to have some chit chat and some good work. So please, please, please don't hesitate. By the way, guys, when I do my appointments, heads up, we're face to face. You can be anywhere. You don't have to be here in Houston. We are face to face, and all you need is an internet connection. So you can do it from your phone. In fact, most people actually do it from their session from their phone. And you can use your forward-facing camera so you can see me and then I can see you and we can talk back and forth. So it's not like I'm talking and you're chatting, or it's not like you're getting a pre-recorded reading and then you have to you have questions like, well, wait, what does this mean? So you can actually interact. Interact right then and there. So I love you lots. I want you to have an amazing day. And again, today we are not dulling our light for social situations. We are letting that untamed wild run free, right? We are letting the gypsy Columbine be her authentic self. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much to our guides, our goddesses, our fairies, our angels, our divine circus, our crystals, our mandalas, everything. So really, tomorrow we will be back here for our bigger reading. My guess is we'll be doing our 7-card reading. I don't know yet because I'm feeling a stirring for something different. I just don't know what it is yet. So, yeah, see you tomorrow. Love you lots, y'all. Have an amazing Saturday. Stay hydrated. It's hot out there. Bye.